I am my mother's only son, and fortunately, I have seen more than I cared to have. She was always waiting for a happier time, for happier moments, but all she got were more hard times. Until she slowly started to fade out, she got older, meaner, more bitter with every concern of her life. Towards the end of her life, she started to have moments where she would look from an outsider's perspective. She went steadily through her past. Her life is not happy. Her memories are not happy as she comes out to the end, the last moments, when she no longer has to go on. That was the best.
The things we're able to do and the things we're not. What we remember doing and what we're not sure. What do I remember? I remember being tall. I remember first it making me unhappy being taller in my class, taller than the boys. I remember, and it comes and goes. I think they're all robbing me. I know they are, but I can't prove it. I think I know, and then I can't remember what I know. He never comes to see me.
Yes, he does.
When he has to, now and then.
More than most. He's a good son.
Well, I don't know about that. He brings me things. He brings me flowers, orchids, freesias, those big violets.
African.
Yes, he brings me those. He brings me chocolate, orange rind and chocolate. He brings me those dark chocolates I like. He does that, but he doesn't love me.
Oh, now.
He doesn't. He loves his boys, those boys he has. You don't know. He doesn't love me, and I don't know if I love him. I can't remember.
He loves you.
I can't remember. I can't remember what I can't remember. Isn't that something?
It certainly is.
There's so much holding on, fighting for everything. He wouldn't do it. I had to do everything. Tell him how handsome he was, clean up his blood. Everything came on me. Sis being that way, hiding her bottles and her night things where she thought I wouldn't find them when she came home to stay with me for a little. Falling down the way she did. Mother coming to stay to live with us. He said she could. Where else could she go? Did we like each other even? At the end? Not at the end. Not when she hated me. I'm helpless. She screamed. I hate you. She stank. Her room stank. She stank. I hate you. She screamed at me. I think they all hated me because I was strong, because I had to be. Sis hated me. Ma hated me. All those others, they hated me. He left home. He ran away. Because I was strong. I was tall and I was strong. Somebody had to be. If I wasn't then.
Is she... Oh my god, is she dead?
She's alive. I think she had a stroke.
Oh my god.
You better call her son. I'll call the doctor.
When I got the call that my mother had had a stroke, I felt obligated to go see her once again. Although we are no longer close, I still had to go see her. She's still my mother, and despite it all, I don't want to see her dead. I know she hates me, but the feeling is mutual.
No. How do I change what happened to me?
Oh God.
No. How did I change?
She wants to know how she changed. She wants to know how she turned into me. Next she'll want to know how I turned into her. No, I want to know that. Maybe I want to know that. Ha! Do you want to know how I changed?
I don't know. Do I?
26 to 52, double it. Double your pleasure. Double your fun. Try this. Try this on for size. They lie to you. You're growing up and they go out of their way to hedge, to qualify, to evade, to avoid, to lie. Never tell how it is, how it's going to be, when a half-truth can be got in there. Never give the alternatives to the pleasure prospects, the what you have to look forward to. God, if they did, the streets would be littered with Alice and corpses. Maybe it's better they don't.
They?
Parents, teachers, all the others. You lied to us. You don't tell us that things change. That Prince Charming has the morals of a sewer rat. That you're supposed to live like that and like it, or give the appearance of liking it. Chasing the chambermaid into closets and the kitchen and into the root cellar. And God knows what goes on there at the stage at the club. They probably nail the whores to the billboard tables for easy access. Nobody tells you any of this.
Poor you.
That gets himself thrown out of every school he can find. Even one or two we haven't sent him to. Since he hates you, catch him doing it with your niece-in-law and your nephew-in-law in the same week. Start reading the letters he's getting from. How did they call it? Older friends? Telling him how he's outwit you. How to survive living with his awful family. Tell him you'll brain him with the fucking crystal ashtray if he doesn't stop getting letters. Doesn't stop saying anything. Doesn't stop. Just doesn't stop. And he sneers, and he says very quietly they can have me put in jail for opening his mail. Not while you're a minor, I tell him. You just wait, I tell him. You just wait. I'll have you thrown out of this house so quick I'll make your head spin. You're going to fire me, he says, quietly smiling. You're going to fire me too? Just like you fired him? He's good in bed, isn't he? Of course you wouldn't know about bed, he says. He gets up, stops by me, touches my hair. I thought I saw some straw, he says. Sorry. And he walks out of the solarium, out of the house, out of our lives. He doesn't say goodbye to either of us. He says goodbye to Mother, upstairs. He says goodbye to the Perkinson, too, I imagine. He packs one bag, and he leaves. Get out of my house! Does that tell you a little something about change? Does that tell you what you need to know?
Yes, thank you.
My mother's life was not a happy one. It was filled with regrets and she was bitter and it just got worse as things went on. I saw the progression, that's why I had to leave. As she got older, she became worse. I don't know if she'll ever truly see things how they should be seen.
Is it like this? What about the happy times, the happiest moments? I haven't had them yet, have I? All done at 26, I can't imagine that. I get to a point I can begin to think about looking back without feeling silly, though. God knows when that will be. Not feeling silly, if ever. Confirmation, for example, that wonderful time. The white dress Mother made, Sis all jealous and excited, jumping up and down, sulking at the same time. But even now, you see, I'm remembering, and what I'm remembering doesn't have to do with what I felt, but what I remember. They say you can't remember pain. Well, maybe you can't remember pleasure either. In the same way. I mean, in the way you can't remember pain. Maybe all you can remember is the memory of it. Remembering it. I know my best times. What is it? Happiest? Haven't had it yet. They're to come, aren't they? Please. And whatever evil comes, whatever loss and taking away comes, won't it all be balanced out? Please, I'm not a fool. But there is a lot of happiness along the way, isn't there? And isn't there always ahead? Am I right? Aren't I? I mean, all along the way? No? Please?
Silly, silly girl. Silly baby. The happiest time? Now. Now. Always. This must be the happiest time. Half being an adult done, half the rest ahead of me. Old enough to be a little wise, past being really dumb. No offense.
None taken.
Okay. Enough shit gone through to have a sense of the shit that's ahead, but way past sitting and playing in it. This has to be the happiest time, in theory, anyway. Things nibble, of course. Your job is to know that, too. The wood may be rotten under your feet, your nicely spread legs, and you'll be up to your ass in sawdust and dry rot before you know it. Before you know it. Before you can say this is the happiest time. Well, I can live with that. I can die with that. I mean, these things happen, but what I like the most about being where I am, the 50 is the peak, is the sense of a mountain.
52.
I know, thank you. What I like most about being where I am is that there's a lot I don't have to go through anymore. And that doesn't mean closing down. For me, at any rate. It opens up whole new vistas of decline, of obsolescence, peculiarity, but really interesting. Standing up here, right on top of the middle of it, has to be the happiest time. I mean, it's only one time you get a 360-degree view. See in all directions. Wow, what a view.
You're both such children. The happiest moment of all? Really? The happiest moment? Coming to the end of it, I think. When all the waves cause the greatest woes to subside, leaving breathing space. Time to concentrate on the greatest woe of all, that blessed one. The end of it. Going through the whole thing and coming out, not out beyond it, of course, but sort of to one side. None of the further shore nonsense, but to the point where you can think about yourself to the third person without being crazy. I've waked up in the morning and I've thought, well, now she's waking up. And now she's going to see what works. The eyes, for example. Can she see? She can. Well, good, I suppose. So much for that. Now she's going to test all the other stuff. The joints, the inside of the mouth, and now she's going to have to pee. What's she going to do? Go for the walker? Lurch from chair to chair? Pillar to post? Is she going to call for somebody? Anybody? The tiniest thought there might be nobody there, that she's not making a sound, that maybe she's not alive. So does anybody notice, that is? I can do that. I can think about myself that way, which means, I suppose, that that's the way I'm living. Beside myself, to one side. Is that what they mean by that? I'm beside myself. I don't think so. I think they're talking about another kind of joy. There's a difference between knowing you're going to die and knowing you're going to die. The second is better. It moves away from the theoretical. I'm rambling, aren't I?
A little.
Well, we do that at 90. Or whatever I'm supposed to be. I mean, give a girl a break. Sometimes when I wake up and start thinking about myself like that, like I was washing, I really get the feeling that I am dead. but going on at the same time, and I wonder if she can talk and feel, and then I wonder which has died, me or the one I think about. It's a fairly confusing business. I'm rambling. Yes, I know. It was talking about what? Coming to the end of it? Yes. So, then you asked after all. That's the happiest moment. When it's all done. When we stop. When we can stop.
The end. The end is the only enjoyment at the end, when everything is over. There's nothing else to worry about, nothing else to reflect badly upon, there's nothing more. When there's nothing, when it all stops, that's the greatest moment.